My beloved brothers and sisters, have you ever noticed this? You try to focus on your life, your goals, your daily routine, but somehow your mind keeps going back to one thing: marriage. Not once, not twice, but again and again and again. You imagine it, you feel it, you even start planning things in your heart, and then you pause and ask yourself, why do I keep thinking about this? Is this just desire, or is there something deeper? Because sometimes what you think is just a thought is actually a message. And today we are going to uncover something powerful. If you are always thinking about getting married, do not ignore this, because your heart might be receiving a signal, and that signal could be coming from Allah. Your heart does not desire without a purpose. Pause for a moment and truly reflect on this. Your heart is not something random, and it is not something empty that reacts without meaning. It was created by Allah with precision, with wisdom, and with purpose, and every feeling that settles deeply inside it carries a reason, even if you do not fully understand that reason yet. There are thousands of thoughts that pass through your mind every single day. Most of them come and go without leaving a trace. But then there are certain thoughts that stay, certain feelings that return, certain desires that refuse to disappear, no matter how busy you become or how much you try to distract yourself. And one of those powerful recurring thoughts for many of you is this constant pull toward marriage. You try to ignore it. You tell yourself that it is not the right time. You convince yourself to focus on other things. Yet somehow, quietly and consistently, it finds its way back into your heart, stronger than before, deeper than before, more real than before. Now, ask yourself honestly, if this thought was meaningless, why would it return with such persistence? If it was empty, why would it carry emotion? If it was just a passing idea, why would it feel so heavy, so real, and so personal? Understand this clearly. Not every repeated thought is a distraction, and not every desire is a trap. Because sometimes what you feel repeatedly is not something trying to pull you away from your path, but something trying to guide you toward it. Allah, the one who created your heart, knows exactly what He places inside it, and He knows when to awaken certain feelings within you. There are people who go through life without ever feeling ready for commitment, without ever thinking deeply about building a family, without ever experiencing that inner pull towards stability and companionship. Yet here you are, feeling something different, something deeper, something that keeps returning no matter how much you try to push it aside. This is not a coincidence. This is not something to laugh off. And this is definitely not something to ignore without reflection. Because sometimes what you call a desire is actually a signal, and what you think is just emotion is actually the beginning of a direction. It does not mean you should rush. It does not mean everything is immediately ready. But it does mean that something inside you is being awakened for a reason. Perhaps Allah is softening your heart toward responsibility. Perhaps He is preparing you to value commitment. Perhaps He is guiding you away from temporary distractions toward something pure, something meaningful, something lasting. And this is why you must not treat your heart carelessly, because when you ignore what your heart is consistently telling you, you risk missing the early signs of where Allah is guiding you. So instead of pushing this feeling away or labeling it as just another thought, take a step back and reflect on it with sincerity. Ask yourself what this desire is teaching you about yourself. Ask yourself what kind of person you need to become if this is truly where your life is heading. Because the truth is, your heart does not repeatedly call you towards something without purpose, and Allah does not allow a feeling to settle deeply within you without wisdom behind it. So if this thought keeps returning to you, if it keeps pulling your attention, if it keeps growing stronger over time, then do not ignore it, do not dismiss it, and do not treat it lightly. Instead, understand it, reflect on it, And recognize that this may not just be a desire. It may be the beginning of a journey that Allah is slowly preparing you for. Desire can be a call toward halal. There is something you must understand very clearly, something that many people completely overlook in today's world. Not every desire is dangerous. Not every feeling is something you need to suppress. And not every strong urge is a sign that you are doing something wrong. Because sometimes a desire is actually a form of protection. Look at the world around you carefully. Look at how people are being pulled in every direction, how hearts are being distracted, how minds are being filled with things that slowly take them away from what is right, what is pure, and what is pleasing to Allah. Temptations are no longer hidden. They are everywhere. In your phone, in your environment, in your daily interactions. And for many people, those temptations lead them down paths they never intended to walk. Slowly, quietly, step by step, until they find themselves far from the person they once wanted to be. But now look at your situation again. Your heart is not pulling you towards something temporary. It is not pulling you towards something secret. It is not pulling you towards something shameful. It is pulling you toward marriage, toward commitment, toward something that is open, pure, and honorable. And this is where you need to pause and reflect deeply. Why would your heart, in a world full of distractions, continue to return to something that is halal? Why would you feel drawn towards something that brings stability, responsibility, and protection? This is not something small. This is something powerful, because when Allah wants good for a person, He does not just protect them from harm directly. Sometimes He protects them by changing what they desire. He shifts their heart. He redirects their focus. He makes them uncomfortable with what is wrong and pulls them toward what is right. So, instead of seeing this constant thought about marriage as just a personal wish, start seeing it as something greater. Perhaps Allah is protecting you from falling into relationships that would break you. Perhaps He is shielding your heart from attachments that would damage your soul. Perhaps He is guiding you towards something that preserves your dignity, your peace, and your connection with Him. Because the one who sincerely desires marriage is not just looking for companionship. They are, knowingly or unknowingly, seeking protection. Protection from loneliness that leads to wrong choices. Protection from desires that go uncontrolled. Protection from a lifestyle that slowly distances a person from Allah. And this is why the desire itself matters, because it shows the direction your heart is being pulled toward. Some people are constantly thinking about things that take them away from Allah, while others, like you, find their thoughts returning to something that brings them closer to discipline, responsibility, and purpose. Do you see the difference? Do you understand the blessing hidden within this? But here is where it becomes even more important. Just because the desire is good does not mean the approach should be careless. Just because your heart is being guided toward something halal does not mean you rush toward it without understanding it. Because even something pure, when approached without wisdom, can lead to pain. So what should you do? You take this feeling seriously, but you handle it with maturity. You do not ignore it, but you also do not let it control you blindly. You allow it to motivate you, to become better, to become more disciplined, to become someone who is actually ready for what they are asking for. Because marriage is not just about wanting someone, it is about becoming someone. Someone who can lead, someone who can support, someone who can stay patient when things are not easy, someone who can carry responsibility without running away from it. And if this desire keeps returning to you again and again, then maybe it is not just calling you toward marriage. Maybe it is calling you toward growth, toward maturity, toward becoming the version of yourself that is worthy of what you are asking Allah for. So do not ignore this feeling, but do not misunderstand it either. Recognize it for what it might truly be. Not just a desire, but a form of protection, not just a thought, but a redirection, not just something emotional, but something spiritual. Because when Allah wants to protect you, He does not always remove the danger around you. Sometimes, He changes what your heart wants. And if your heart is being pulled toward what is pure, then that is not something to take lightly. That is something to be grateful for, and something to act upon with wisdom. You are being prepared, not just invited. There is something very subtle, yet very powerful, that many people fail to understand when they feel a strong desire for something in their life. They assume that feeling ready means they are ready. They assume that because their heart wants something deeply, they are meant to have it immediately. But the reality is far deeper than that. Because in the journey of life, especially when it comes to something as serious as marriage, Allah does not just give you what you desire, He prepares you for what you desire. And preparation is not always comfortable. Preparation is not always visible. Preparation is not always quick. Sometimes preparation happens quietly within you while you are still waiting, while you are still wondering, while you are still asking yourself why things are not happening yet. You feel the desire growing stronger, but the reality has not arrived yet. And that gap between feeling and reality, that space between wanting and receiving, that is where preparation happens. Because marriage is not just about love, and it is not just about emotions. It is about responsibility. It is about patience. It is about sacrifice. It is about controlling your anger when things become difficult. It is about staying loyal when emotions fluctuate. It is about carrying someone else's trust, someone else's heart, someone else's expectations, and handling it with care. So ask yourself, honestly, are you only feeling the desire, or are you becoming the person who can carry what comes with it? Because Allah does not give heavy responsibilities to unprepared hearts. He shapes you first. He refines you first. He strengthens you first. And sometimes that shaping process feels like delay. Sometimes that refining process feels like confusion. Sometimes that strengthening process feels like waiting without answers. But in reality, it is not delay. It is design. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, وَعَسَى أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَى أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. You may feel frustrated because what you want is not happening yet. You may feel confused because your heart is ready but your situation is not. You may feel impatient because you see others moving forward while you are still standing in the same place. But what you do not see is what Allah is protecting you from. What you do not see is what Allah is building within you. Because sometimes, if you were given what you wanted too early, you would not be able to handle it. You would not have the patience to sustain it. You would not have the wisdom to protect it. And you might end up losing something that was meant to be a blessing. So, instead of asking, why is this not happening yet? Start asking, what is Allah preparing me for? Because every moment you spend waiting is a moment you can spend growing. Every moment you spend thinking about marriage is a moment you can spend becoming a better future spouse. Improve your character, strengthen your discipline, control your emotions, fix your habits, build your relationship with Allah. Because the stronger you become now, the more stable your future will be later. And understand this deeply. Allah does not just answer your dua by giving you what you asked for. Sometimes He answers your dua by transforming you into someone who can handle what you asked for. So, if you feel this constant pull toward marriage, if your heart keeps returning to it again and again, do not just see it as an invitation to receive something. See it as a sign that you are being shaped for something, that you are being prepared for something, that you are being elevated towards something. Because when the time finally comes, when Allah opens that door, when everything aligns in the way you once imagined, you will not just be someone who desired marriage. You will be someone who is ready for it. And in that moment, you will realize that every second of waiting, every moment of confusion, every feeling you did not understand, was not holding you back. It was building you up. Delay does not mean denial. There is a pain that many people carry silently, a feeling that grows slowly inside the heart, a question that keeps returning no matter how much you try to ignore it. If this desire is real, then why is it not happening yet? You feel ready in your heart. You feel the longing. You feel the sincerity. You feel the need for something stable, something pure, something meaningful. Yet your reality does not reflect what you feel. Days pass, months pass, sometimes even years pass, and you remain in the same place, holding the same desire, asking the same questions, carrying the same weight in your heart. And then slowly, Shaitan begins to whisper, maybe it is not meant for you. Maybe you are being ignored. Maybe others are more deserving than you. And this is where your understanding is tested. Because delay is one of the greatest tests of faith. Not because Allah is denying you, but because He is teaching you how to trust Him. Understand this deeply. Allah does not operate on your timeline. He does not respond according to your urgency. He does not give based on how strongly you feel. He gives based on what is right, based on what is best, based on what will not harm you in the long run. You may be looking at your situation from a limited perspective, seeing only what is in front of you, measuring your life based on what others have achieved, comparing your timeline with someone else's reality. But Allah sees everything. He sees what is hidden. He sees what is coming. He sees what would happen if things were given to you right now. And sometimes, what you call delay is actually protection in disguise. Protection from the wrong person. Protection from the wrong timing. Protection from a situation that looks good on the surface but carries pain underneath. Because not every marriage brings peace. Not every relationship brings stability. Not every union is a blessing at the time you want it. And if Allah were to give you something before you are ready, or before it is truly good for you, then what you once desired could become the source of your greatest regret. So when you feel that delay, do not rush to negative conclusions. Do not assume rejection. Do not let your heart become heavy with doubt. Instead, shift your perspective. Tell yourself, if Allah is delaying this for me, then there must be something I am not seeing, because the one who created your heart knows exactly what it can handle and exactly when it can handle it. There are things you ask for today that, if given to you now, would overwhelm you. There are responsibilities you desire today that, if placed on your shoulders now, would break you. There are people you think are right for you today that, if they entered your life now, would harm you instead of help you. But you do not see that. You only see the surface. You only feel the desire. And that is why you must trust the one who sees beyond what you can ever imagine. Delay is not empty. Delay is active. While you are waiting, things are being arranged. Situations are being aligned. People are being shaped. And most importantly, you are being prepared. Every moment you spend in patience is not wasted. Every time you resist falling into what is wrong, it is not unnoticed. Every time you choose discipline over desire, it is not ignored. Allah is watching. Allah is aware. And Allah is writing something for you that is beyond what you can currently understand. So do not let the waiting make you weak. Let it make you stronger. Do not let the delay make you doubtful. Let it make you more trusting. Do not let the absence of what you want make you ungrateful. Let it make you more connected to Allah. Because when the right time finally comes, when what you have been waiting for finally arrives, when everything falls into place in a way you could never have planned yourself. You will look back at this period of waiting, and you will realize something that will change your entire perspective. That what felt like delay was never denial. It was mercy, it was wisdom, it was protection, and it was Allah giving you exactly what you needed, at exactly the right time. Your desire is testing your discipline, not just your patience. There is something even deeper than waiting, something more challenging than delay, something that many people do not realize until they are already struggling with it. And that is the test of discipline. Because it is one thing to want something. It is one thing to feel a strong desire inside your heart. It is one thing to imagine a future, to long for companionship, to hope for stability and love and connection. But it is something completely different to control yourself while you are waiting for it. And this is where many people fail without even realizing it. The desire itself is not the problem. The longing itself is not the danger. The real question is how you behave while you are carrying that desire. Do you allow it to push you toward what is right? Or do you allow it to slowly pull you toward what is wrong? Because when a person continuously thinks about marriage, when their heart is constantly returning to the idea of companionship, when they feel that emotional need growing stronger over time, they reach a critical point where they must make a decision, even if that decision is not spoken out loud. That decision is this: will I remain disciplined, or will I take shortcuts? And understand this clearly. Shortcuts always look easier. They always feel quicker. They always seem more satisfying in the moment, but they come with consequences that slowly destroy the heart. A conversation that starts innocently but becomes inappropriate. An attachment that feels harmless but becomes emotionally consuming. A connection that seems small but slowly leads you away from your values. These things do not happen suddenly. They happen gradually, step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment. And the most dangerous part is that while it is happening, it does not feel like you are doing something wrong. It feels normal. It feels justified. It feels like you are just responding to your emotions. But this is where your discipline is being tested, because true strength is not shown when things are easy. True strength is shown when your heart wants something deeply, yet you choose to control yourself for the sake of Allah. When you feel the urge to fill that emotional gap immediately, yet you choose to wait. When you have the opportunity to step into something questionable, yet you step back. When you are surrounded by people who normalize what is wrong, yet you hold firmly onto what is right. That is discipline, and that is where your value is built. Because the person who cannot control themselves before marriage will struggle even after marriage. The person who allows their desires to lead them without boundaries will carry that same lack of control into their future. And this is why Allah does not just test you with what you lack. He tests you with how you respond to what you feel. Your thoughts about marriage are not just there to make you dream. They are there to shape your behavior. They are there to refine your character. They are there to teach you restraint, patience, and self-control. So when you find yourself thinking about it again and again, do not just focus on the feeling itself. Focus on your actions. Focus on your choices. Focus on how you are handling this phase of your life. Are you becoming more disciplined or more careless? Are you becoming more mindful or more distracted? Are you becoming stronger in your connection with Allah or weaker because of your desires? Because the same desire that can lead you towards something beautiful can also lead you towards something destructive if it is not handled with wisdom. And this is why you must treat this phase seriously, not with fear, but with awareness, not with pressure, but with responsibility. Understand that every moment you resist what is wrong, you are building strength inside yourself. Every time you lower your gaze, you are protecting your heart. Every time you avoid a situation that could lead you towards something harmful, you are preserving your future. And these small, quiet decisions that no one sees, these moments where you choose discipline over desire, these are the moments that define who you truly are. Because anyone can claim they want something good, but not everyone is willing to control themselves until they receive it. And that is the difference between those who are truly ready and those who are not. So, if you are constantly thinking about marriage, do not let that thought become a weakness. Let it become your strength. Let it push you toward better habits. Let it guide you toward stronger discipline. Let it remind you that what you are waiting for is valuable, and anything valuable requires patience, control, and sincerity. Because in the end, the one who protects themselves while waiting will be the one who is most capable of protecting what they receive. And when the time finally comes, when Allah gives you what your heart has been asking for, when that door opens in a way you never expected, you will not just be someone who wanted marriage, you will be someone who earned the ability to handle it with strength, with maturity, and with sincerity. And that is when you will realize that this phase, this struggle, this constant internal battle was not just about waiting, it was about becoming. Not every desire should be rushed, and not every door should be opened too soon. There is a very dangerous illusion that quietly settles in the hearts of many people when they begin to feel a strong and consistent desire for something, especially something as emotional and life-changing as marriage. And that illusion is this belief that because the desire feels right, the timing must also be right. This is where many people make the biggest mistake of their lives, not because their desire is wrong, not because their intention is bad, but because they confuse emotional readiness with actual readiness, and those two are not the same, they are not equal, and they do not lead to the same outcome. You may feel ready in your heart, you may feel the longing, the excitement, the imagination of a future filled with companionship and stability and love. But feeling something deeply does not automatically mean you are prepared to carry the weight that comes with it. Because marriage is not just a beautiful idea, it is not just two people coming together and sharing happy moments. It is a responsibility that demands patience when emotions fade, strength when difficulties arise, wisdom when conflicts appear, and discipline when life becomes overwhelming. And this is where rushing becomes dangerous. Because when a person rushes towards something without full preparation, they are not just moving quickly, they are stepping into something heavy without the strength to carry it. Many people did not fail in marriage because they did not want it enough. They failed because they entered it without understanding it. They failed because they rushed into it driven by emotion rather than guided by wisdom. They failed because they thought love alone would be enough. But when challenges came, they were not ready to handle them. So understand this clearly. Wanting something pure does not give you permission to approach it carelessly. Desiring something halal does not mean you abandon wisdom in the process. And feeling ready emotionally does not mean you are ready in reality. This is why you must pause and reflect deeply on yourself before you chase what you want. Ask yourself questions that many people avoid. Are you patient enough to deal with someone else's flaws without losing your temper? Are you emotionally stable enough to handle disagreements without turning them into destruction? Are you financially responsible enough to support and sustain a household without constant stress and pressure? Are you spiritually grounded enough to lead or contribute to a relationship that is centered around Allah and not just emotions? Because marriage does not just reveal your strengths, it exposes your weaknesses, it magnifies your habits, it tests your character in ways you cannot fully imagine until you are inside it. And if you have not worked on yourself before entering it, those weaknesses will not stay hidden. They will surface, they will grow, and they will affect not only you but also the person you are connected to. This is why Allah, in His wisdom, does not always open doors the moment you knock on them. Sometimes he keeps them closed. Sometimes he delays them. Sometimes he redirects you. And sometimes he allows you to feel the desire strongly without immediately fulfilling it, not to frustrate you, but to give you time, time to grow, time to reflect, time to become someone who can enter that door without regret. Because imagine entering something too early. Imagine stepping into a marriage when you are not ready emotionally, when your patience is weak, when your discipline is inconsistent, when your understanding is limited. What begins as excitement can quickly turn into pressure. What begins as love can quickly turn into frustration. What begins as hope can slowly turn into disappointment. And this is not because marriage is bad. It is because it was approached without preparation. So if you find yourself constantly thinking about marriage, do not let that thought push you into rushing blindly. Let it slow you down. Let it make you more aware. Let it push you toward preparation instead of impatience. Because the one who rushes often regrets, while the one who prepares builds something lasting. Take this time seriously. Look at your habits. Look at your character. Look at how you handle stress, how you respond to anger, how you deal with responsibility. Because these are the things that will define your future, not just your feelings. Work on your discipline. Build your emotional strength. Strengthen your connection with Allah. Develop patience that does not break under pressure. And most importantly, understand that timing is not in your control, but preparation is. You cannot force something to happen before it's time, but you can make sure that when it does happen, you are ready for it. And this is the difference between those who build peaceful lives and those who struggle within what they once desired. So do not chase the door. Prepare yourself for what is behind it. Do not rush the moment. Strengthen yourself for the responsibility. Do not let your emotions control your actions. Let your wisdom guide your steps. Because when the right time comes, when Allah opens that door in a way that is good for you, when everything aligns in a way that protects you and benefits you, you will not just enter it with excitement, you will enter it with strength, with clarity, and with the ability to protect what you have been given. And in that moment, you will realize that what you thought was delay was actually preparation. What you thought was waiting was actually building. And what you thought was silence was actually Allah shaping you into someone who is ready to carry a blessing without breaking under its weight. Turn your desire into dua and your waiting into worship. After everything we have spoken about, after understanding that your desire is not random, that your heart is not empty, that your waiting is not meaningless, and that your delay is not denial, there remains one final truth that can transform your entire experience. One shift that can turn your restlessness into peace, your confusion into clarity, and your waiting into something deeply rewarding. That truth is this: do not let your desire remain only a thought inside your mind. Turn it into a connection with Allah, because there is a difference between someone who simply wants something and someone who asks Allah for it with sincerity, humility, and trust. There is a difference between carrying a desire alone and placing that desire in the hands of the one who controls everything. Many people think about marriage constantly. They imagine it, they talk about it, they feel it deeply, but they do not consistently turn to Allah and ask Him for it in the right way, with the right mindset, and with the right understanding. And this is where a powerful transformation can happen, because when you turn your thoughts into dua, you are no longer just waiting, you are engaging, you are connecting, you are building a relationship with Allah that goes beyond your circumstances. You begin to speak to Him about your fears, about your hopes, about your uncertainty, about your longing for companionship, about your desire for something pure and stable and meaningful. You begin to express what is inside your heart, not just to yourself, but to the one who placed it there in the first place. And when you do that, something changes inside you. your anxiety begins to soften, your impatience begins to calm, your confusion begins to settle, because you are no longer carrying everything on your own. You are trusting, you are relying, you are surrendering, and this is where true peace begins. But understand this deeply. Dua is not just about asking for what you want. It is about asking for what is best for you. Because sometimes what you desire strongly may not be what is truly good for you at that moment. And if Allah were to give you everything exactly as you imagine it, without His wisdom, without His timing, without His protection, then you might receive something that harms you instead of benefiting you. So when you raise your hands, when you speak to Allah, do not limit your request. Do not say only, "Give me marriage." Say, "Give me what is best for me." Say, "Give me a spouse who brings me closer to you." Say, "Give me a relationship that is built on peace, on trust, on sincerity." Say, "Give me what will protect my heart, not break it." Because Allah knows what you do not know. He sees what you cannot see. He understands what you cannot fully comprehend. And when you trust Him with your desire, you are not losing control. You are placing it in the safest place it can ever be. But there is something even deeper than this. When you turn your desire into dua, your waiting itself becomes an act of worship. Every moment you remain patient becomes valuable. Every time you resist what is wrong becomes rewarded. Every time you choose discipline over impulse becomes meaningful. Because you are not just waiting for something in this world. You are earning something with Allah. And this changes everything. Because now, even if what you are asking for is delayed, you are still gaining something. You are still growing. You are still building a stronger connection with Allah. You are still becoming someone who is closer to Him. And this is why the believer never truly loses. Even in waiting, there is reward. Even in delay, there is benefit. Even in uncertainty, there is growth. So instead of letting your thoughts about marriage overwhelm you, guide them. Instead of letting your desire control you, elevate it. Instead of letting your waiting frustrate you, transform it. Use it as a means to become closer to Allah. Use it as a reason to improve yourself. Use it as a reminder that what you are asking for is not small, and anything that is valuable requires patience, sincerity, and trust. And never forget this, the one who placed this feeling in your heart is not unaware of it. The one who made you think about it repeatedly is not ignoring you. The one who sees your patience, your discipline, your quiet struggles, your moments of weakness, your efforts to stay strong, your attempts to do what is right, even when it is difficult. That one is Allah, and He does not forget. He does not overlook. He does not ignore. He responds, but He responds in the best way, at the best time, with the best outcome. So keep asking, keep trusting, keep improving, keep being patient. Because when the answer finally comes, when Allah gives you what is right for you, when everything falls into place in a way that you could never have planned yourself, when you find yourself in a situation that feels peaceful, stable, and aligned with everything you once asked for, you will not just feel happiness. You will feel certainty. You will feel that this was worth the wait. You will feel that every moment of patience had a purpose. You will feel that every delay had wisdom behind it. And you will look back at your past self, the version of you that was confused, that was waiting, that was wondering, that was asking questions without answers, and you will realize something that will settle your heart completely, that nothing was ever wasted. Not your thoughts, not your patience, not your discipline, not your dua. Everything was being recorded, everything was being prepared, everything was leading you to exactly where you needed to be. So do not let your desire become a burden. Let it become a bridge that connects you to Allah, a bridge that strengthens your faith, A bridge that transforms your waiting into something meaningful, something rewarding, something that elevates you. Because in the end, the greatest success is not just receiving what you asked for, it is becoming someone who reached Allah while asking for it. And that is a success far greater than anything you could have imagined. If you have stayed until this moment, then this message was not meant to pass by you. It was meant to reach you, because not everyone thinks this deeply, not everyone reflects like this, and not everyone feels what you are feeling right now. So do not ignore it. Do not silence it. And do not treat it as something small. If your heart keeps returning to the idea of marriage, if your mind keeps going back to it again and again, then understand this clearly. Your heart is not just asking, it is being guided. But guidance is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it comes in the form of a repeated thought. Sometimes it comes as a feeling you cannot explain. And sometimes it comes as a desire that refuses to leave you alone. So do not rush it, but do not ignore it either. Do not let it make you impatient, but do not let it make you careless. Take it seriously, but handle it with wisdom. Grow through it. Discipline yourself through it. Turn it into dua. Turn it into action. Turn it into a reason to become better. Because the one who placed this feeling in your heart is not testing you without purpose. He is shaping you. He is preparing you. He is guiding you towards something that you may not fully understand yet. But one day, it will make perfect sense. And when that day comes, when Allah opens that door for you, when everything finally aligns, when you find yourself in a place you once only imagined, you will not just feel happiness. You will feel peace, a deep, unshakable peace, because you will know this did not happen by chance. This did not happen randomly. This happened by the will of Allah at the perfect time. So trust Him. Even when you do not understand, be patient. Even when it feels heavy, stay strong. Even when your heart feels tired, because what is written for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. So keep going, keep believing, keep trusting, because your story is not over yet. In fact, it might just be beginning.